Welcome back to the Crux of Crypto. Every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I bring you the alpha. Today, we have another interactive activity. We're going to be doing the crypto tiers. So you guys know I did the 5x, 10x, 15, and even 30x. Actually, it was 20x. So 5, 10, 15, 20x's for those altcoins. And we did that about 2 weeks ago. And every Tuesday, I try to kind of switch it up a little bit. The last one we went over like a market update, but you guys are seeming to like the interactive live streams just a little bit more. So today we have something very similar. It's going to be all about the bear market bottom. So I've been very accurate up until this point, calling the top back in October. And I think I'm going to be right calling the bottom in October of this year. So we got about 50 days left. And a lot of people are asking me, what should I be accumulating? So there's a lot of different projects out there. Today, you're going to get those answers. And nothing I say in this live stream is financial advice. I'm just a guy with the dog. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you also follow. And I got a couple new things that I want to talk to you about here shortly before we really get into it. So really, we're just going to start with just a couple updates on the channel. We're going to move into the current market sentiment, and then we're going to get into those crypto tiers. So do not get away. And if you're watching this after it's live, then I'll have some timestamps for you to be able to catch up quickly. So again, smash that like, hit subscribe, and let's go ahead and dive right on into the content. So the first thing I have for you is the memberships. So it's $4.99. You can join, get one of the badges, and our group is growing. So just over like a month ago, we finally got our first person, Angel. So shout out Angel. If you're in chat, salute. I'm actually move this so you can see all the names right there. And again, this is just to become part of the Crux pack. You'll see the emojis. If you have some emojis, drop those in chat. It's Pup Tux, it's Kaspa. If you have some Kaspa, throw K's in chat. And we are up there and we're in there like swimmer. If you see the C and it's blue right there, that means they've been a member for longer than a month. So we are probably, I want to say, one of the fastest growing crypto content creating channels on all of YouTube. And there's a lot of reasons why. I'm actually about to get right into one of the reasons, but that being said, we love to give back. And whenever we hit 10K subs, actually today we just hit 8K. So, definitely pat yourselves on the back. We're growing 8,000 subs. When we get 10,000, we're going to do a $1,000 giveaway. Maybe we do 1K to one person, or maybe we do $100 to 10. You guys let me know in the comments how we should do this giveaway. But I alluded earlier on why we're growing so quickly. And there's this new thing that I am part of. It's called Crypto Verdict. It just launched its first episode yesterday. We brought Crypto Eerie on. She is one of the bigger faces, over 300,000 subscribers over there on X, a big face in the XRP community. So this game show is actually super cool. I strongly encourage you guys to check it out. I'm actually going to go ahead and drop the link in the description right now so you can kind of get a gist on what it is. But you can see it right here. Let me explain. Put it right here. All right. So you won't be able to hear it, but you see myself. I'm the host. I'm right there in the middle. There's these 5 other individuals, and I make something super. I'll say like, is a 4-year cycle broken? And they'll either say agree or disagree, and I make them debate. So it's super interesting game show. It goes on for an hour and is definitely one of the reasons that I'm quickly growing. I'm going to go ahead and throw that in the description right now so you can quickly follow that channel as well. So, all right, let's go ahead and dive more into this. Let me make sure it's actually showing everything. All right. So this video is going to drop tomorrow. So tomorrow we have a very big announcement. Let me go ahead and go to full screen for this one. We have the CFTC and the SEC finally getting their day to shine. A lot of people are calling this the Trump Summit. So we have a lot of big people that are putting a Band-Aid on until the Clarity Act is able to pass. So what I'm doing is I found the projects that I think are going to resonate well with purchasing at these lower prices. And I chose 5 in particular, right? And I'm actually going to give you the 5 up front. Here they are. Go back here. You'll see it. It's Chainlink, it's XRP, it's Solana, it's Uniswap, and it's Hyperliquid. But you see over there, it says 16 different cryptocurrencies. And there's an exact reason why there's 16 that have already gotten a green light from these two, the SEC and the CFTC. So I'm going to be breaking that down for you tomorrow. They're having that summit, and I think it's important for you guys to understand that. So stay tuned. That will drop at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Let's keep going through this, and also drop those questions because I'll highlight those before I jump into our tiers. But this is Tim Warren. He is somebody I work really closely with. He's a business partner of mine. And this is his website. So it's called timwarrentrading.com. There's this cool tool I like to use. It's free. It's called Crypto Bubbles. Maybe you've heard of it. And also the fear and greed. So typically as an analyst, I like to buy when people are fearful, and I like to sell when people are greedy. It's basically investing 101 in regards to psychology. But I like to use the crypto bubbles to quickly find projects that are pumping and or dumping. Now, since we're going to go into quite a bit of them today, we're not going to spend much time on this. I just wanted to show you that it exists, and it's going to help me kind of formulate my thesis on where we are headed. So this is why I said earlier that I do believe that I am the most accurate person in terms of just creating content and being right. So pulling the receipts back in October, I called the top all the way down to this red line. This red line, we're about halfway through it. And I still do think that we are going to go as low as 40K by October. Maybe I'm wrong, but until then, the trend is your friend until the end. So you have these two different concepts. And I want you guys to go ahead and let me know what you're thinking. The trend is your friend until the end, or you have this time is different. So this time is different is the famous last words from a lot of people that are much smarter than me getting smoked in the market. The trend is your friend until the end is the thing that seems like, well, there's not a lot of like, I guess, reasoning on why it works, but it does work. So I'm going to be on that bandwagon, and you guys let me know. Are you team this time is different, the bottom is in, or the trend is your friend until the end? You think it's going to go until about October and you're on my side? Or possibly we are going to continue going down and right through the midterms and we break the 4-year cycle in a bear winter. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but anything is possible. All right. So let's go ahead and, since I'm on the screen, let's go ahead and jump up and pull up some of these comments. Hello from Poland. Very first comment. Hey, we are global out here. You know, we're growing quickly, but not just in America. And that's what I love about this is we're growing all across the world. Can't make the call. Curious to know your thoughts on Syrup. So seems to be a solid RWA project and generates good revenue and undervalued. Audio, there's a lot of good RWA projects right now that are generating real value. And I've been working closely with the Node Network, you know, at least collabing with them. And they have this model that definitely hits heavy on fee revenue. And these are the projects that seem to do better in bear winters. But within bull markets, things go euphoric. And typically a lot of projects that aren't exactly generating the most fees are going to be the big winners because they got hit the hardest in a bear winter. So I think in a bear winter, if you're going to buy a project, maybe it makes sense to get the ones with the highest fee revenue, like Canton and even the Syrups of the world. But I wouldn't sleep on, like, if you're going to hold on to it for 3 years, I'd get the ones that have taken a massive hit and are able to survive a bear market, because they're probably going to rally based off of euphoria. Because bull markets, people start losing their minds. They start getting FOMO. They don't want to get the thing that's up already like 10x. They want to get the thing that's still down and they want to catch up. So people make irrational decisions. So with Syrup in particular, though, I mean, I would treat it as just a very high risk, high reward play. Something like a Plume, for example. There's a lot of different opportunities out there. And I would just say don't have too much of your portfolio in there. So Daniel, where is Canton on that poll? Oh, yeah, let's check out the poll real quick. So just one sec. Let me open up my YouTube and pull up that poll, because it's currently ongoing. If you are not on YouTube tuning in, maybe you're on X, jump over to YouTube and jump in as part of this poll. Let me mute this. All right, so the poll is, it's still loading. Well, I got to watch my own ad. There we go. So best project to accumulate in 2026. You got XRP, you got Kaspa, you got Tao, and you got Solana. I'm rocking a Doge shirt. So maybe I should add a Doge. Daniel is asking about Canton. I mean, Canton's definitely one of the better picks, I think. I think Canton's going to do very well in this next bull market. But amongst this list, let's go ahead and see who's actually winning. So I got to go Kaspa, you guys know. And it's not even letting me vote. That's weird. So I can't see the results. This is frustrating. There's 44 people that have done it, and I can't see the results. And I am the owner. That's pretty wild. Well, let me refresh and try one more time. And if not, we're just going to go ahead and get on with this live stream. So again, that's Kaspa, XRP, Tao, and Solana. Well, vote's not going through. You guys let me know. Whoever was able to vote, throw the results in there, and we will definitely take a quick look at it. I bought the Sui dip. that's what you should be doing, not financial advice. Look, if it's a solid project and we're down 70%, I mean, there's potential there. Do not sleep on it. Alrighty, let's keep going. After your last video, I voted for Tao. Yeah, so I dropped a video on Tao. I'll talk about it at the end of this live stream, and I'll talk about Tao a little bit in this live stream. So do not go anywhere. Smash that like, hit subscribe, and stick around. We will hit these crypto tiers here shortly. Need to buy some more, and he's waiting for lower prices. All right, Crux, how much lower are you expecting Moonwell to go? Is Moonwell on our actual tiers list? Yeah, we'll hit Moonwell. No, it's not. So Moonwell is not on our tiers list. I won't be able to hit that one for you. But okay, so this is how I look at Moonwell. The least risky would be buying Coinbase. You could add leverage and get Morpho. That's going to be like your best borrowing and lending platform on the base ecosystem. You could add leverage and get Moonwell, or you could add leverage and you can get Mamo. So Mamo has already gotten smoked. This is the one I would definitely recommend staying away from unless you put a little bit in. Moonwell, it's not dead, but it's pretty rough. It's not as bad as Morpho. I like Morpho. We're going to talk about Morpho today. I also like the Coinbase stock. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. So, but that's how I would do it in terms of risk to reward. Replace XRP with Canton. The game show has been fire, says Daniel. Yeah, hey, everybody was around during around the blockchain. That was it back in 2020, 2021. Everyone was getting onboarded by Discover Crypto now, who used to be BitBoy Crypto. They had this show called Around the Blockchain, and DZ, who I recently had on my channel, he ran the show. And I'm like, the last bull market, they didn't have it. I need to be the missing link. I have what it takes to be that missing link. And, you know, yes, last night's game show, I'm getting people from all around the space. You see Shizzy. Shizzy, he actually just, let me go ahead and throw this up here. He just threw some jewels. So we dropped a video on Tao yesterday. It is doing very good. So if you haven't heard about Tao, he is the guy to break it down. Make sure you show him some love. He is in the comments right now. You can easily subscribe to him, and I recommend doing so. So definitely appreciate that. Shizzy, we crushed it on that one. And my editor, he threw some pretty fun stuff to check out on there. So, all right, let's keep on going through these. Link bottom is in. I think it could be. Link is doing very well as of late. We'll pull up some charts today. Usually I'm not much of a technical guy, and I'm more fundamental, but I'm going to pull up some charts. And I think Link in particular, that's a project that it got pretty low a while ago and has been rallying since. So here we go. So Bitcoin's getting like closer to like 65K, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see if the bottom's in. I don't think it's in, but I can't say with 100% certainty. Bought some more CC and CAS. Look, Mike is taking notes. I love both those projects. Jetpack 10. I see your tweets all over X right now, brother. Thank you for sharing my stuff earlier. He took a clip from last night who I had Crypto Eerie on. Again, over 300,000 subs on X alone. So I'm getting some of the biggest people in the space. I had Digital Asset News on my channel last week. Jay Claver. Jay Claver is going to be on next Thursday. I'm going to be hosting the game show with him. I was actually on an interview. It was actually XRP versus bullish versus bearish case for XRP debate on the Node network. And, you know, we already got 15,000 plus views on that one. So I am in there like swimwear. And this is my first real bull market as a content creator. So it's only up from here. Dogs are outdated. It is cat season. Oh, man. That would hit my heart, brother. Dogs are not outdated. Pup Tux, he's over there. Close your ears. But I do like these cats. I like Keeta. I like Toshi. And you try to slip Cash Cat in there. I mean, I like Robinhood chain. Good luck with Cash Cat. There's money to be made all over that cash chain. Casper has been doing well. Okay, Mike. We got some more jewels. Thank you, Andres. Gold coins. Appreciate you. Thank you all for tuning in from your phones. Much appreciated. Hello, says Ridu. We got some K's in chat. Kaspa. And it's not alone. We got some more Kaspa. Smash those likes, says Mike. We're about to get to those poll results and we'll move on to having some fun here. The gem hunters need the emojis. So the emojis are only done through YouTube, and I can't give access through YouTube without charging something. So YouTube is very particular. Plus, all the money that is spent on YouTube, they take 30% of it, which is a huge amount in terms of, just allowing something to happen. But I digress, and that's why we go through WAP on our memberships as opposed to just YouTube. But if I could give them to you, I definitely would, Daniel. It's just there's no way to do that. Let me Crux. All right. Hey, Crux. This is from Andy. Could you address night, please? Is it worth allocating 0.5 to about 1% in a given? Absolutely. So first of all, midnight is, I wouldn't call it a low cap. What I've said in my recent portfolio where I showed about 16 different cryptocurrencies, I put like Bitcoin as the king and then 5 different cryptocurrencies that are high risk, 5 that are medium risk, and then 5 that are low risk. So you have 5 that are like XRP, Solana, etc. You can have 5 that are like Kaspa, somewhere in like the mid range. And then if you're going to have midnight's probably a medium risk play. So having like 3% to make up that, some of that is, I think, doable. I wouldn't have over like 3% of my portfolio in midnight though. And I think midnight is a good diversification play. If you didn't want to hold Cardano, they have a lot of potential over there as a side chain. Does HBAR go lower? Anything goes lower. If Bitcoin bottom is not in, all of this stuff is going to go down and right. So it's like gravitational pull. That's how it works. Do not sleep on Plume, and I agree. Actually, you guys are asking a lot of good, questions lately with Plume, with Syrup, with even Zebec. There's a lot of different RWA plays that have lower caps that I think you guys are interested in. So maybe, just maybe, I do a top 5 RWA live stream or video for you guys. We will see. Canton, Stellar, and Plume. I respect it. I like it. All of them. DTCC approved. Yeah, DTCC, that's the clearinghouse of a couple quadrillion dollars every single year in security transactions. So they're massive. That's who you want part of your project. Hi, Crux. Hey, everybody. Angel, as always, Angel. Thank you for all the support on Twitter, Angel. Come on, 44K. So Daniel's calling for about mid 40s. He's been calling that since Q1 this year. I've been calling from October, 40K. So we will see who is more accurate. Either way, we are both very accurate so far. A lot of people that said we are not going into a year-long bear winter. And again, it's okay to be wrong. What's not okay is to continue to be wrong, and not have some sort of like responsibility behind it, right? So if you make a claim, you're going to have to put your name on the line in a sense, and it's okay to be wrong. So Jasmine is crumbling. Are we getting close to the bottom? Yeah, Jasmine's taking some hits. I work really close with Crypto Future 99. That's Rob. He's actually the producer of that Crypto Verdict channel game show that just launched last night. And he's super big into Jasmine. I have some Jasmine. I'm not going to allocate any more funds into it. So just Japan in general, I think from the macro side of things, I'm not a big fan of what's going on there. And unfortunately, it does mean Jasmine has to take a hit there. So we will see. But I like the project in a sense. I think DPIN is a phenomenal narrative. I just don't know what's going on around the macro side of things. All right. Of course, I always get the important phone calls as I am live. I will answer that later. All right. Replace CAS with Chainlink. What the heck? And all 4 for accumulation. I like Kaspa. I can't make a case for holding more Kaspa than Chainlink, even though I like it a lot more. I like a lot more than Chainlink. But being a responsible crypto, especially a responsible crypto creator, I can't tell you to dump all your Chainlink and go buy Kaspa, because it's just, that's not how you should be doing this. What you should be doing is what they've already given the green light for, and that is 16 different cryptocurrencies. One of them is Kaspa, or one of them is Chainlink. None of them are Kaspa. So Kaspa, yes, we have some solid technology, but it's not about the tech always. It's about adoption. And we are not in there like swimwear the same way Sergey Nazarov is. He's about to be in this summit tomorrow. He's going to be all over the news. Thursday, he's going to be all over the news. So why would you sell it right now? I wouldn't. Angel, trend is your friend until the end. I agree. See, we got a lot of people. You either got trend is your friend until the end, the bottom is in, or the bottom is not in, or you have this time is different. This is the one that gets people wrecked all the time. But you could be front running it. You could have called the bottom, and you might be able to perform a little bit better in this next bull market because you bought at better prices. Jetpack coming through. He says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Bent doesn't mean broken, just a little bit wobbly. I agree with you, Jetpack. That's a good way to put it. Why is Tao not on the poll, says Shizzy. Shizzy, hey, you know, that's Pup Tux. That's my dog. He's the one who's in charge of the poll. Yell at him later. I'm just here so I don't get fired, as said by the great Marshawn Lynch. If you know, you know. Cell frame. All right, we're not getting too degen today, y'all. We're about to get into the meat and the potatoes. So the big difference between this time and previous cycles is here we go. All right. So this is what I mean by this time is different, and the trend is your friend until the end. This is what I've been riding right here. I've been right since October. This right here is this time's different. The institutions are here. This exact statement was thrown in October of last year. This time in previous cycles, the influence of the institutions, they weren't here. Back in October of this year, we had the IBITs. We had all the institutions here. So why did we go into year-long bear winter? Because of the 4-year cycle. And again, very good comment, by the way. You could absolutely be right. The bottom could be in. But the thing is, like, this kind of statement, I actually heard this back in 2021. We had Tesla buying it on their balance sheet. We had MicroStrategy already in the works. It's like when you have the world's biggest institution, BlackRock, with IBIT, the institutions are here. It's undeniable, and we're still in a bear winter. So we will see who is right. But also, thank you for tuning in from the Netherlands. I appreciate all y'all from tuning in from over the pond. Appreciate that. So let's keep on. We'll get a couple more in here, and then we'll jump into this fun part. Everyone, please smash the like. I agree. Smash those likes. Okay, so there was XRP's 18. Cass is 9. What are y'all doing? Tau 40. All right, so you guys are just making stuff up. There's no way all this even adds up. I should have known better than trusting you guys with polling. But let's actually see if my poll's working yet. Nope, it is not working. So you guys have fun with the poll. Hopefully Kaspa wins, but I don't want to be too biased. Shizzy with the loot box. I appreciate that. As always, brother. We'll definitely drop maybe we'll do a top 5 subnets video. I think that would be pretty dope in the next month or so. So there's a lot of creators that are jumping on. I'm doing about 1 interview per week. So I like Digital Asset News last week. I had you this week. I think it was Black Roo 2 weeks ago. We talked about Zebec Network, Canton, etc. And I'm going to be rotating in a lot of big creators once a week. So we'll have to wait a little bit, but we'll definitely get you back in that rotation there. Could I make my PC work for Tau? Absolutely. You can, Andres. There's a lot of ways to make money with the Tau. There's 128 different subnets. Make sure you follow Shizzy Unchained. He can definitely help you out there. What's up, Crux? Thanks for moderating and collaborating. Crispy, I saw you in those in the comments. So during that show, I'm doing like 50 billion different things. Like I got 5 different contestants. I'm moderating the question. I'm reading the polls. There's so much going on that I can't interact with chat. So that's why like these live streams are a lot more interactive with you guys, and I'm able to talk to you. So appreciate you. Thank you, because I got a lot of hard work going into this stuff. Not just Crux or crypto, but Crypto Verdict. And I will be one of the biggest content creators by 2029, which I think maybe the peak will be in. Maybe we go into a super cycle and we just go indefinitely into an up and right market forever, just like gold. All right. So I got a lot more people. Let's read this last one and we're going into it. The poll results. I actually believe this guy. Thank you, Raphael. 50 votes. We got XRP 17%. Tau 38%. Is Tau even part of it? Tau is whooping y'all. Alrighty. Yeah, I mean, Tau, hey, Shizzy, you brought your group in here. Appreciate that, brother. So Kaspa, 7%. What are y'all doing? I love me some Kaspa. Of all these projects, Kaspa is my favorite. But I got to be honest, there's a reason Tau and Solana are winning that just because everybody loves it. And honestly, just tomorrow, you'll understand more why with the Alpenglow upgrade, the Solana it's going to be big. It's on my list for those 5 different picks tomorrow. A lot coming forward with that. All right, well, I think I saw Doc jump in here too. So I got a lot of content creators jumping in here. Let's see. Invest with Doc. I got to throw it up here. Crux dropping some knowledge. Hit that like and sub. Like I did a collab with Doc. We talked to Kaspa, and I think we're pushing like 5,500 views on that. So you look at channels my size, I just hit 8,000 subscribers today. And that is a ton of views for my subscriber count. We're on to something. We're actually on to the next thing. Let's go ahead and get me down here. Let's bring up why I think we are going further lower, and then we'll bring up that very last piece, which is going to be the tiers. All right, so these are 4 reasons that I think we're going down and right. You got the Clarity Act. This is basically the biggest piece of legislation that can really help us, and Congress is currently on recess. So tomorrow we have the CFTC and the SEC. We got some pieces moving there, but these are all Band-Aids. I need the Clarity Act to pull me out of bear winter. August and September, historically, these are midterm performances that have always been bearish. There's never been a green August or September in the year of a midterm. So going into November, I think 11th or somewhere around there, we have a midterm this year where we will see if President Donald Trump is able to do well, maybe not, but going into those is typically very rough. Now, 4-year cycle, 1 year after the peak goes down to the bottom. And then at that point, you just go up and right for 3 years. So there's a lot of confluence going down and to the right. And then lastly, we have MicroStrategy and institutional selling from ETFs that are still fighting against us. So I think there's a lot of conditions that can prevent us to just say this time is different and the bottom is in and we go up and right. But I think there's more that are going to have us. So I'm like right now, like 70-30. And the bottom is not in. All right, let's have some fun. This is what you guys click for. This is Tier Maker. And let me make sure it looks good on my screen. Yeah, I need to move the comment and my actual camera before I get into this. One sec. Tao is centralized though. Yes, it is. Dreamcast, I saw that comment. I think you posted on another video. It is centralized. And in fact, check out that that interview that I did with Shizzy. I dropped it yesterday, and I talk exactly about this. The founder, Const, he said in 1.5 years, he has a roadmap to make it not centralized. So that's the idea. Yes, I see CAS is in the name. We are fair launched. We are much more decentralized, but that's not an end all be all. I still like Tao. All right, let's go ahead and move this. Let's move me. And let's have some fun. All right. You guys let me know if you can't hear me, because I'm not sure if you're able to hear me if I take myself off, but we're going to act like you can. So first up, we get, actually, what is this? Oh, okay. So Ondo's right there. What is this one? And that is midnight. All right. We're going to do one by one, buy, wait, and avoid. And I'm going to give my quick take on each of these. So first of all, Kaspa has to go and buy. If you got some Kaspa, throw K's in chat. I'll bring up comments as I see them if they're important also. So as long as they're not too, I can't even move my mouse right now. All right, so why is Kaspa a buy? And again, we are talking about the bottom of what this bear winter should be. So if we go into October, what are the best tokens to buy? And the reason I think Kaspa is, it's down 85%. It went from 22 cents all the way down to 2.5 cents where we're currently at. So it's been a rough journey, but we're here. The miners are still operating. And actually, we just had a hard fork. We had Takata drop about 6 weeks ago, which added programmability to the network. We have Dagnite, which most likely will pass around Q1 of next year, which will add scalability. We'll add VProgs, and then we'll push for 100 blocks per second by next year. So there's a lot in the roadmap for Kaspa. I think this is a beautiful buy. And honestly, proof of work networks work a lot differently than proof of stake. If we look at how Kaspa in its first bull market, last bull market, it did very good for the first half. And then it kind of died out in the second half. And that's because it's a proof of work network, right? In my opinion, I think Kaspa is going to do extremely good going into 2020, let's just say 2027, 2028, right? I don't know about the 2029 when I think most of these other projects are going to dump, because proof of work typically sells off before proof of stake. So that's how I consider it. Maybe Kaspa gets to that dollar marker. That's like Litecoin's all-time high. I think it's doable. So that being said, if you buy it 2.5 cents and it goes to $1, you're getting that 25x. Why not? Something like that. All right. Next up, we got Keeta. All right. So Keeta, the reason I'm throwing it in buy is because why wait and why avoid when something with potential has a ton, who has already lost a ton of its market cap. So we're talking about a couple hundred million down to sub 100, right? So Keeta has been taking a big hit. We're down over 80%, I believe. And at this point, it's like, all right, you went from over $1.30, I think, all the way down to like 10 cents. It is a massive hit. And at this point, a little exposure isn't bad. I wouldn't put over 1% of my portfolio into a project like this. All right, let me make sure y'all can still hear me. Yep, let's go Keeta. All right, so y'all can hear me. Kaspa, Keeta, those are out of the way. Let's keep going down this list. We got Solana. This one's a no-brainer. So Solana, for example, this one, Tim Warren, he's been calling the bottom in on this one. I agree. I think if Solana can get down to $50, you would have the buy of a lifetime. That is like the equivalent of a $9 Solana back in 2022 whenever FTX crumbled. I don't think we're going to have an opportunity like that again, but we could. So for now, I'm just going to put it in the buy. I would not wait too long because of all the large cap opportunities in crypto, I think this one has the most potential. For Sui, same thing. Sui took a massive hit, maybe about 8 weeks ago. The network went out. So I consider it Solana 2.0, Sui. A lot of things from Solana going down in its first bull market, Sui's going down in its first bull market. So I definitely like to treat those the same. Just add more leverage to the Sui call. Whatever Solana can do to the up and the downside, Sui can do more. So that's how I like to look at that one. Bitcoin, I would wait. So typically what happens in bear winters is the altcoins, they already took massive hits. Go back to Q1, Q2 of this year, altcoins were getting shredded to pieces. Bitcoin, not so much. Yes, it took a loss, but it didn't go down 70%, right? Kaspa was already down 70% back in like February or like April or something like that of this year. So what happens is the altcoins typically rebound harder as Bitcoin's pulling back up to its 200-day moving average. When it rejected just as hard as the altcoins. So typically what happens in later parts of bear winters is the Bitcoin dominance will start going down. The issue is lately the Bitcoin dominance has gone up. So we are kind of bucking the trend right now. But what I do think is going to happen is Bitcoin's probably going to go down in parity with the altcoins. And if the altcoins have a better upside potential, but they go down 1-to-1, then they have the same risk at that point. Like if I buy Kaspa today and I buy Bitcoin today, if Bitcoin goes down 10% and my Kaspa goes down the same 10% because it's already taken an 85% hit, then the upside, we have to look at that. Kaspa has way more upside potential. Therefore, I should probably asymmetrically bet on Kaspa over Bitcoin. So I hope that pitch is easy to understand. I would actually avoid Zcash for now. So Zcash, they just dropped their Ironwood upgrade. There's a little bit of confidence going on over there. It was heavily manipulating Q4 of last year. I actually think it's a solid project, but again, I think it's manipulated. And what I need it for it to happen is us to go into a bull market and show me privacy is actually working as a narrative. So currently, let me make sure that, okay, we're still good. I'm still live. You guys can still hear me. Yeah, so going into the next bull market, I need to see privacy as a narrative work through a full bull market, not just like Q4 of last year where Barry Silber, Arthur Hayes, and all these random people start pitching it. Electric Coin Company out of nowhere all like gets replaced and they get a whole new people running the foundation like Zuko, Wilcox. A lot of their biggest people are no longer part of it. So I would be very skeptical on the future of Zcash. And I know that's a very bold statement and I don't know, but for now I would avoid it. But eventually, maybe you can go ahead and get some exposure. It just has held up too well, and I'd rather get the thing that's down 85%. As far as BNB, I'm going to give you the avoid, and here's why. So BNB typically does very well in a bear winter. If you look at BNB, it's actually closer to its all-time high than Bitcoin is. So Bitcoin is already down as much as about 55% from its 126K down to that 57K marker. The Eastern cryptocurrencies, they do not fall as hard. If you look at Tron, if you look at BNB, these are different culturally. And I've broken this down many times. If they're going to be, if they fall less in a bear winter, but they rise less in a bull market, it's not worth it to me. So for example, BNB did not outperform Bitcoin's 8.2x from 15.5 to 126K. So why would I buy it in a bear market if Bitcoin's a better performer to the upside, right? What I would do is if I'm going to cash out a crypto at the top of a bull market, I would buy BNB, I would buy Tron, and I would buy Bitcoin. This allows you to get upside just in case the 4-year cycle breaks. But in case you go down and right, you have the coins that hold up best in a bear winter. But we're talking about what happens best at the bottom of 2026, where I think the bottom will be in. It's not going to be the best performer, therefore I need to avoid it. So let's keep going. Hyperliquid, I'm a wait. Perp dexes, we have not seen the perp dex race yet. October is whenever Aster launched last year. Aster is the biggest rival to Hyperliquid. And what I need to see is a solid Q1, Q2 lead of 2027. This one outcompeting Aster and also Lighter. So the perp dex era, it's here. We have Avantis. I just dropped a top 5 for August video and threw that as a gem. There's a lot of different perp dexes that are going to give Hyper a run for its money. The chart has done phenomenally well in a bear winter. Therefore, I would wait. So I think it's a solid project, but I would not buy it at these prices in comparison to some of these other buys up here. All right, Chainlink. Same thing. So Chainlink, I like the project. I think it's going to do very well. But if you look at Chainlink in the past 6 weeks, it's been doing extremely well. And that's cool for it. I hold some Chainlink. What I need is better prices. So if Bitcoin does go down 40K, Chainlink should do hopefully back to like $7. Probably won't happen, but that's a best case scenario. If Chainlink's able to go down to 7, anywhere from like 10, even 10, or not 10, but like 7, that would be a phenomenal buy point. And that's what I'm kind of looking at for Chainlink in particular. Canton. So I've been waiting for this one to go sub 10. Canton is in a beautiful position to pick up some. And I mean, honestly, I don't think there's a better asymmetric bet for real world assets currently than Canton. So this project did not get its first bull market yet. It launched last year, and we really don't know how it's going to perform. But I'll tell you, that October event, or not the October, but the recent soft launch of it, like 3 weeks ago with the DTCC, was a huge buy the rumor, sell the news event, and has sold off ever since. Even before that, it was selling off, but it went as high as 19 cents, kept selling through 10 cents, and we're now down like 55%. So with Canton, I think there's a lot of potential there. I think their October event may be another buy the rumor, sell the news. So that, like, I have to throw a caveat on this. The reason I'm not putting it in wait is because it is down enough to buy. It's down 55%. If you have no exposure, I think now would be fine. But we've seen the DTCC soft launch be a huge sell-off event. Will the October actual launch on the DTCC continue that bloodbath? I don't know. So that being said, I kind of want to put it on wait, but I'm just not, because it's down enough. Now, if it was still above 10 cents, I would probably put it on wait, but it's not. So let's keep on going through these. Let's do 2 more. We'll do XRP, we'll do Ethereum, and then we'll do some comments to kind of like break it up a little bit. So Ethereum's looking close to about 2,000. I think it's closer to like 1,800 right now. So it's actually doing pretty well. It's held up very well recently, and there's a lot of potential there. So I do think Ethereum is going to be a winner in this next bull market, but not until the second half. So I'm going to put it up to wait. The L2s are still being parasitic. I need the blobs to blob throughput on the roadmap that Vitalik has coined to come into about 2028 or so, whenever that blob throughput should increase, which is going to allow throughput to just happen cheaper and faster on the main net. So the L2s right now, too much competition. We have Robinhood Chain launching on Arbitrum. We have Optimism launching Base Network, just way too much internal competition for the main layer to do well. So it needs to solve that issue, and it's not going to solve it anytime soon, at least for another 2 years. And that's why I would wait for Ethereum. But I think it's a solid buy in terms of at least the price. So I'm not telling you do not buy Bitcoin, Hyperliquid, Chainlink, or Ethereum. Those are all solid projects. If you need to DCA to lower your prices, those are still good. But what I'm telling you is if you don't have exposure to certain cryptos, those buys, they're looking pretty nice up there. And lastly, a lot of you guys in the XRP army, I'm sure you're going to be, this one's tough. XRP, it is sub 50 bill and went as high as like 140, maybe even higher at the all-time high of like 320 or whatever it got to. XRP for a large cap crypto that once dethroned Ethereum as the number 2 cryptocurrency, only behind Bitcoin, I gotta go with the buy. I have to. It's down enough for me as a large cap that has survived multiple bear winters. And honestly, the only reason I don't think it set a new all-time high in the last one, or the one before the last one, is because of the SEC drama. So if a cryptocurrency can outperform Bitcoin in multiple bull markets, which it did 3 cycles ago, it did this last cycle, and the only reason it didn't 2 cycles ago was the manipulation, that it is the better asymmetric bet. And here's a fun fact, and I'll say this right before we go into another segment of Q&A. Dogecoin is the only cryptocurrency in all of crypto that has outperformed Bitcoin in all 3 of its last bull markets. Fact check me. So we got Ethereum. Ethereum did not outperform Bitcoin in the last bull market. It did the 2 before that. We have something like XRP. XRP didn't because it was manipulated. Dogecoin is the only cryptocurrency that has outperformed Bitcoin in the last 3 bull markets. So everybody's like, memes are dead. Is it? Are they? Don't know what you're talking about. Shout out Doge gang. All right, let's go ahead and throw up some fun comments before we go into these next parts. Give me 1 sec while I... All right, that's your reminder. Drink a little water. Hydrate. Let's go, Keeta. K for Kaspa, K for Keeta. I love it. If you got the emojis, if you're a member, I got Kaspa and Keeta emojis right there. Just $4.99. All right, Corey, what you got for me? Hey, Crux, what is your take on Banker Coin? It is an AI agent. Yeah, so Banker, I've heard about this one. So I know with the whole Multbook takeover, like AI agents are creating their own Facebook. They're getting a lot more power. Honestly, 2 days ago, 48 hours ago, Brian Armstrong, he said X402 now has access to give personal credit to AI agents. Therefore, I can now, give my AI agent the ability to use my personal credit, which is insane. And AI agents are becoming a very big narrative. I think Near Protocol, I think Virtual's protocol, I think Tao. There's going to be some big winners in this space. Banker Coin is what you're asking in particular. I think Banker has a lot of utility, but there's a lot of competition. So I wouldn't hold like over 1% of my portfolio in a high risk play like that. I would honestly just put in Tao. But if you want to take the asymmetric bet, you can. So good luck with that one. 90 votes, Tao and Sol are tied. So Tao and Sol, those are still tied. I love to see it. Sol just took the lead back to 91. Well, we got a 1-1. I'm going to keep that poll going through the whole thing, and you guys let me know at the end who wins. I've been stacking Keeta bit by bit. I'm loving it, Mike. Mike is one of the biggest Keeta supporters out there. I've made 7 different Keeta. Actually, I've made like 8 or 9 if you count my versus videos. I did Zebec versus Keeta. I did XRP versus Keeta. And I've done a whole bunch of deep dives. Every time Keeta does a big launch, I drop that. So I would say I'm the biggest content creator for Keeta. If I push a video out, it'll get more views than anybody else on YouTube. So the Keeta community is definitely loving it. And this is something that, I'll be honest, we found it together in a Fundamental Friday session. Fundamental Fridays was something that I used to do that, who knows, it may come back, where before the weekly wrap up and you go on your merry way for a weekend, I would bring the community in. It was completely free in Discord. And we would go through how to find a gem and the simple things. So we will see if we do that. But Keeta is a project that I really like. And Mike, dang, with the gifted memberships. So let me go ahead and show that one. 5 gifted memberships. You guys are loving it. Again, that's pretty cool. You guys throw those new emojis in there. If you got those gifted memberships, show the world what you are working with. I actually have access to add like 2 more new ones. So you guys also let me know, what should I throw as an emoji? I'm thinking Tao. You know, I got a pretty big Tao community here. Clearly, it's beating the rest of these cryptos. How about this? Whoever wins the poll today is going to get its own emoji for the Crux pack. So, yeah, I think that's a good way we can settle this. We got some Zebec heads. Tony. I think, Tony, you're part of Coin Vault, right? The whole crew over there. Give us some Zebec Alpha. Look, you know, I work closely with Crypto Future 99. He was at the XRP Las Vegas, which had Simon, who is a founder of Zebec Network. He's able to interview him with Black Roo. So I'm in there with, like Swimwear, with the coolest content creators, getting the good alpha for this network in particular. I've done a couple deep dives as of late. I would say I started covering about 2.5 months ago, my first Zebec deep dive. I talked about it quite a bit while ago, but that was my first deep dive, and I like it because you have this, like, you have a new network that's looking to do streaming payroll, and it essentially, instead of every month to get paid, every single second you can get paid. So that's what smart contracts do. They allow you to program how networks work, right? You can add oracles to a network, you can add programmability, and this means every single second I'm on the clock, I can be getting paid 3 cents, 3 cents, 3 cents, as opposed to once a month I get $3,000, right? And that's a pretty brilliant use case. We got ADP. That's a big partnership of Zebec Network, and ADP, they handle the payroll of a lot of big companies today. So once you see TradFi starting to pick their favorite projects, that's whenever it's a pretty good sign that the project's going to win out. And that's why I think Zebec will do well. I did a recent 30x price prediction. I think it'll get to about $5 billion market cap. You guys let me know. Will Zebec get to 5 cents? Will it break to its all-time high? We will see. I voted Cat. Yeah, Mike, we lost this poll, bro. I don't know what happened. Kaspa, I thought was going to win. I just dropped a Dag Night video. That was on Monday, right? No, that was on Thursday. Last Thursday, I dropped a video on Dag Night. Ton of views. Kaspa is typically my biggest community that follows me, but I think over time, like, since I am being a general content creator, I'm working close with Coin Vault, Tim, T-Shroom. I got Crypto Verdict going on. I got some of the biggest content creators I'm working with currently. So everybody's starting to, like, really just even out my community. And I think that's a good thing. If I have this even community and I'm pushing Kaspa above everything, I compare everything to Kaspa. So, all right, let's get it, Crux. All right, if you're just now tuning in, we were about to get right back into this tier list that I got going on. We're about 1/3 of the way through. Get a bag of what if. All right, I already knew the shills were going to come. What if is a Robinhood cryptocurrency. I actually called it to the gem hunters, and you guys let me know if you're a gem hunter, hold me to it. I called it at 4 mil market cap. It went up to like 42 million market cap within a week. So that's the only gem that I've called recently was what if, and 4 mil, 42 mil. And then it went all the way down to like 12. Maybe I think actually, no, it went down to like 8 or 9, and then it went back up to 24, and then it came back down to like 13, and now it's sitting somewhere around like maybe 14 mil market cap. So, if you want to have some fun with what if, that is super risky, speculative. Don't put a lot into that one. So Solana, says Corey. Interesting. Well, Zebec's kind of like a layer 3. Zebec uses everyone else's rails to do its functions, which is pretty smart. You don't have to take the on-chain risks to build out your network. I agree. I feel some way about Zcash. Yeah, Andrew. So if you go back to November of last year, I dropped a deep dive on Zcash whenever all that manipulation was happening. And I said verbatim, for me and my household, we are staying away from this project. And that was around the time Zuko Wilcox and ECC was going through their feud, and all this weird stuff started happening with Barry Silbert and Arthur Hayes, and Grayscale. They're all angel. Oh, Barry Silbert and Grayscale. Those are angel investors in the project, and the tokenomics were much different early on. So I pointed all that out. Privacy on Kaspa L1 with vprogs. Dreamcast. You know a little something about Kaspa, huh? So vprogs is I read the yellow paper. It essentially allows you to do off-chain computation without sacrificing composability or your sovereignty. And these are two big things where because you want the trust, but if you off ramp it to like an L2, like Casplex right now or IGRA, these are L2s. If you off ramp it, you don't have the layer one security. So those are considered band-aids. For now, we're accepting it, but eventually IGRA, Casplex, that will all be housed on the layer one, all those functions. Everything on the Kaspa ecosystem, we've kind of already accepted it's going to be done in Kaspa. KAS is the ticker. We don't need 50 billion different apps and all these other things doing their own thing. We need everything on the layer one. And the only way that you can do that and maintain scalability, I mean, there's multiple ways. We're pushing towards 100 blocks per second, each block doing 400 transactions per block by the end of next year. For the first time in all of crypto, we're going to have a network that can rival the speed of Visa. And currently, if you don't believe me, fact check me. Kaspa is the fastest proof of work network. It hit 5,500 TPS last year on its mainnet. So this is all not just buzzwords. This is actually, it's happened. vprogs allows you to add programmability off-chain and settle on-chain without losing the trust. So it's huge. When I look at visionaries and what's new to crypto, Kaspa's brought in DAGs, decentralized acyclic graphs. This is an evolution of a blockchain. It's more superior than a blockchain. It's added things like vprogs. So you're seeing the first time in anything, as opposed to like Monad. It's like a brand new L1 that didn't do anything new. At least Sui brought its new programming language, Move, right? So that's how I look at things. What are you bringing to the table that nobody else has? All right, that was my pitch for Kaspa for the day. Please take a moment to smash that like. I agree. I definitely agree with you. Buying 10, 20K CC tokens is attainable for most investors. Yeah, I think Canton is a top 5 asymmetric bet currently at these prices. That being said, all right, let's go ahead and jump back into our list. Come here. Boom. All right. Let me take the comment down as well. StreamYard is very difficult, y'all. Sorry about this. All right, and get a little drink. All right, next up on our list, we got Cardano. So this one's going to be mixed results. Cardano recently did very well. If you look at the past like 6 weeks, ever since Charles Hoskinson went on his rant, he left for about a couple days, a lot has happened since. So he came back with a much better feeling. Typically, I don't tell people to buy pumps. Cardano has slowly pulled back from that 21 cent like recent high. I think it went as high as 22, down to like 16. I think it's sitting closer to like 17 or 18 right now. I think it's a buy, y'all. This one's tough. All right, we're going for weight right now. I think it's a buy, but let's wait. And really, it's because this last bull run, it was just the sore thumb of crypto. Honestly, this was almost a top 5 project. It was like a top 6 or something at one point, and it barely stayed in the top 25. So it's finally starting to show its recoverability. We're bringing stable coins. We got Leos. We got the Musashi Dojo testnet finally integrated. And maybe by the end of this year, we'll get Leos fully integrated. So there's a lot of potential for Cardano. I think the weight is mainly because of the pump. The 6-week pump, it's just been up and right. It went as low as like 11 cents and then went as high as like 22 cents. So a 2x in a 2-week period is just too much. I need to pull back. So to answer this, I would wait for about 15 cents. If Cardano can get down to 15, send it, right? All right, Ethena. I'm going by. All right, let me explain. So stablecoins, I think is going to be a top 5 narrative. You have real world assets, you have AI, you have meme coins. This is a non-negotiable. if somebody is telling you that artificial intelligence, if meme coins, people may laugh at that. Meme coins have been a top performer in the last 3 bull markets. For example, you have the Doge era, you have the SHIB era, you have the Pepe era, and guess what? You're about to have another era. Is it what ifs? I doubt it, but it could be. Every single bull market, meme coins have performed as a top 3 metric niche. That's irrefutable. So that being said, stable coins I think are going to be up here with the Clarity Act, and Ethena allows you to do a delta neutral hedging strategy. This is very interesting for algorithmic stablecoins, and I think there's a lot of potential there with a USDE product. So ENA is the ticker for this one. I think it's a solid grab at these prices. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, we got a couple that I'm going to just do back to back because they're pretty similar projects. I would avoid the Bitcoin Cashes and the Litecoins because Kaspa. You see at the top left, the first project we hit, it has solved the trilemma. Bitcoin Cash, it essentially just added larger block sizes to Bitcoin. So instead of like the 6 different confirmations across 10-minute blocks to settle for a full 1 hour finality, Bitcoin's too slow to settle, right? What they did is they just added more blocks, more transactions per block. Litecoin, they just added faster blocks. Both of these have been solved through that directed acyclic graph infrastructure that Kaspa created. So shout out Yanton Sampolinsky, shout out Michael Sutton, and shout out Aviv Zahar. That's why I'm going to find those two. They're outdated, honestly. So that's how I'd say that. Let's go with Avalanche. This is a good one. Avalanche. I'm going to go with wait on this one. So some of these I'm going to need to see more. Like I need to see the institutions really get involved. So Avalanche has a ton of partnerships. Actually, they have more partnerships than most of these that are in the buy column. The issue is the competition at that high of a market cap is steep. You are competing against Solana. Heck, you're competing against Hedera. So there's a lot of projects that Avalanche is going to have to compete with, but I think Avalanche actually has a better infrastructure than most of these. So in terms of a fundamental project, I'd actually put this in a buy, but we're not talking fundamentals. We are talking what is the best buy at the bottom of the bear winter. Avalanche, I think, is a good buy, but it did not make my top 16 crypto picks. So going to leave it there. Hedera, same thing. Good infrastructure. Their governance network is beautiful. It's like 32 different governing authorities. Each of them have about 3.33% like vote power. And this goes from like Microsoft to Google to some of your biggest names out there that have control over some of this governance. And I think what Lehman Baird has created there, it's good. It really is. But if Bitcoin, again, the bottom is not in yet, then most of these other larger cap cryptocurrencies are going to take the brunt of it. Because most of the Keetas of the world, the Kaspas, they've already taken the brutal hit. So at parity, they're going to go down 1-to-1, but to the upside, they have much better upside potential. So I don't want to call those Dino tokens because look, you got Cardano right there, you got Avalanche right there, you got Hedera. All of those basically in the weight are kind of quote unquote Dino tokens. And I think the ISO 2022 narrative is going to revive itself in this next bull market. And that's why they're in wait and not avoid. There's going to be time to buy them. I just don't think it's yet. Moving on, we got Near Protocol. This is going in the buy. Near has quickly become my number 2 AI pick. So only behind Tao, I think Near is the next network. I like Near. The AI agents, the Near intent is its main narrative that's pushing through. I did a recent ICP versus Near protocol, and really Near was just better in almost every way. I mean, canisters, we'll talk more about ICP here in a little bit, but I like Near as a whole. I think if you feel like AI is going to do well, I'd go Tau first. I'd go Near second. Render and Virtual are pretty close, but I'd go Virtual third, Render fourth, and then you can start moving on to like the Akashas, IONets, and some of those other picks if you want to, but put those in any order, basically. Zebec Protocol. I talked a little bit about it earlier. I think the whole payroll infrastructure is good. I'll add timestamps to this if you want to pick up on that conversation later. But yeah, I hit Zebec pretty hard earlier in the stream. So real quick. So we have something called the Gem Hunters. So I'm gonna throw this with the buy, and it is currently 50% off the Gem Hunters. So this right here is our biggest membership. And right now, honestly, let me pull myself up for this one because I want to talk to you. Right now, the next 50 days, I personally believe Bitcoin is going to go down to about $40,000. Maybe it goes to 45K. Who knows? This is the most important time to get your portfolio reviewed. And currently it's 50% off while we're in the bear winter. I've done well over 310 portfolio reviews with you guys where I sit down for an hour and sometimes an hour and a half, however long it takes to put myself in your shoes. It's not financial advice, but it's what I would do in your position. So, I've seen it all. I've seen some people hold everything with Bitcoin and Ethereum. I've seen some people hold nothing in the top 500 projects. Super risky. And I've seen all the walks of life from the 20-year-olds all the way to the 80-year-olds. And there's no one size fits all. But what I do think is worth having is somebody going through the most important time to set a foundation for a bull market. And typically you could buy in the bear winter, and for 3 straight years, you just hodl. And then you sell near the peak, and then you rinse and repeat. So that's what I typically preach here at the Crux of Crypto is the bear winter is how everything gets started. And you could check this. Back in November, I dropped this video. It's a super unique video. It was about zero 0.1 Bitcoin. All you have to do is focus on just 0.1 Bitcoin. So I was telling people in November of last year to save $4,000. Why 4,000? Because that is 0.1 of the 40K prediction that I have going into October of this year. So I'm already telling people you have a full year to save $4,000. If you're able to get that 0.1 Bitcoin, I think that's going to be Manhattan back in the 60s. So that 0.1 $4,000 investment, if Bitcoin gets to 1 million, 2 million, $3 million, that you're starting to push generational wealth at that point. And that's where I think conviction comes in. It's like, who else was talking about this? Nobody. But you have to believe in something and you have to paint a picture. And again, I think this is the time. We got about 50 days or so going into October. Hopefully the Clarity Act will pass in October. We'll see. I mean, currently nobody thinks it is, but I think it's going to happen this year. And at that point, you're good. So 50% off of the Gem Hunters using code GEM50. So also part of those Gem Hunters, like we have a VIP trading group, over 400 members in there. There's a daily Q&As in there. We have the Academy. This basically is tailored to take your trading from rookie to pro. It's over 88 different videos of myself, Tim Warren, T-Shroom. We have Rufio, who teaches Elliott wave theory. So very complex and also very basic. Like my section, it's a 13 video series all about building the perfect portfolio. Super simple. So it's really just built for you guys. But let's go ahead and get back into the fun stuff. The tiers. Boom. All right. We got Bittensor Tao. You guys already, well, actually, hang on. Before I make that call, Bittensor's holding up well, y'all. And a part of this is it the best time to buy, right? Like today. Is August 18th the best time to buy Bittensor Tao? It is such a solid project that I think it is. So it's going in the buy. Yes, it is doing very well as of late, just like Cardano, but I think Tao has more potential than Cardano. So, all right. And also, if you don't know anything about Tao, check out my interview with Shivzy. I dropped it yesterday. So it goes through the Bittensor subnets, 128 different ones. He actually chooses 3 that he would personally buy. Shoots is one. He talks about Liam as one. He talks about a couple other ones. And if you want to add leverage to your Tao position, that's how you would do it. So not financial advice. All right. Next up, let's do one more and then we'll jump into some Q&A and we will finish it off after. WLFI is going in a void. I don't really touch anything that President Trump is a part of in crypto. He has proven to be irresponsible. He launched a meme coin a day before he became president, and I'm not going to get political here. I'm just dropping facts. His team gets 90% of the tokens. So therefore, if you invest $1, the odds of you making a return is 10%. The team they're getting the whole supply essentially, and it gets vested. There's a cliff unlocks across a couple year period before all of it's unlocked. That being said, it was just within a single weekend, it went up to about a 14 bill market cap and is dumped over 90%. So a lot of people, they saw a utility being created because they can go to Mar-a-Lago and they can sing and dance and have fun with the president of the United States. But at the end of the day, this was all over CNN. It was all over Fox. This is the reason the Democrats right now are not allowing the Clarity Act to push through. So I have to hold it against our president. You know, again, it's not political. I'm just talking the crypto side of things. And WLFI is his biggest personal project within crypto. They're the ones responsible for USD1, et cetera. So there's a lot of different endeavors you can take if you really believe in, you know, his approach into crypto. But I don't know. All right, so let's keep going. Welcome to the Crux Pack. Welcome, everybody. I got 128. It's been a long time since I've had this many people tuning in. You guys are loving it. I'm going to add timestamps after this, and then you can quickly go through all of these projects. You can hear about Tao. We're about to go through Morpho. You saw ICP, everything. I have a good general knowledge on all this stuff, and it's why I'm not a maxi in any specific project, because I like to give you guys the rundown on everything. Oh, XRP. Hey, XRP's not win the poll, brother. So, Mike, whoever wins this poll today gets an emoji in the Crux Pack. That is how it goes. God bless you for the gift, says Grateful. Look, Grateful's name, and he's saying God bless you. That's what we like here in this community. Andrew, thank you for the jewels. MVP, shout out. Thank you. Or Andres, sorry about that. Let's keep going. Mike MVP, says Sander. Sander, you have been a long supporter of this channel. Thank you so much. Mike, you're welcome. Everyone got a membership. Stick around, get involved. We are good people here. I definitely agree with that. I'm going to also talk at the end of this about the crypto verdict again. Brand new game show. I'm bringing some of the biggest creators across crypto YouTube. Hundreds of thousands of subscribers on some of these people. They're coming on the game show. I have 7. I just hit 8K today. I'm like the little guy, but I got pull. And you guys are going to see it live. We're going to be one of the biggest channels, and you will see it happen in real time. It's going to be a blessing. We got Sparkwater hooking it up. Thank you for becoming part of the Crux Pack. You're going to get to know a little bit more about Pup Tucks. You see him in the videos. You see the emoji every now and then. That's my dog. He has to earn his work, right? So, Mike, let's go. You missed me. All right. So, Daniel, whenever you gift subs on YouTube, you don't get to choose, unfortunately. So it forces you to randomly give it to people. So Mike did not get to choose those 5 subs. But the only way you can get it is if you're in chat. So that's the best part, is if you're here, you may get it. Raphael, after 111 votes, Tao is ahead with 38%. Y'all keep on letting me know about these, because again, I can't pull up the poll. So Tao's ahead right now, 38% to 34%. So Kaspa and XRP are not going to get their emoji. Solana still has a fight. 4% is doable. And this is a good one. All right, look, I got my marker out. Zebec, you guys can thank Ann for this one, versus Kaspa. Hey, I haven't thought of it. I got a lot of people in Zebec that like it. I got a lot of people in Kaspa that like my content. Why not? I did a Kaspa versus Bitcoin video. I've done a couple. I did Kaspa versus Quai. I did Zebec versus Keeta. So why not do 2? I mean, Kaspa's probably, I'm not going to spoil that one, because honestly, Zebec is going to beat Kaspa in a lot of those categories. So it depends on how I evaluate them. I'm going to choose 11 critical categories, from scalability to full functionality. Like, for example, Zebec is way more programmable than Kaspa. It's going to win that one. Kaspa is more scalable than Zebec. So that will be a fun way to learn. So and y'all can thank Ann for that one. Let's keep going. Sander, is Wormhole a project worth abandoning at a big loss? So interoperability, man, this is a good question. You got Layer 0, you got Wormhole. There are some pretty good interoperable plays, even Injective. But Layer 1s are beginning to be able to natively bridge without having to have third parties do stuff. So I think interoperability is slowly becoming a dead narrative in the space. but it's still like bridging is still important in crypto. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think I'm going to put any more of my money in bridging projects. So that's how I would answer that. I think there's a lot of good utility there. I just don't know in terms of investment. So hope that helps, Sander. I 2x my money, says Daniel. Yeah, Daniel was early on Cash Cat. So shout out Daniel. He's a gem hunter. He likes these Robinhood memes. Daniel also got into What If. So we got in on What If early, 4 mil market cap. It went up to 43 million market cap in about a week after that call. So, oh, okay. So that was What If that you did it, Daniel. Nice. It's hanging at 16. So again, we got it at 4. It went up to 44. It came down to like 9. It went up to 24, and now it's at 16. So that's just how these low cap gems work. It's pretty crazy. But something that we tell people, if you put something in a gem, when it gets a 2x, take it out. Take out your initial. Let the rest run. That's what we call house money. And you sell that whenever your gut feels right. So sometimes people never sell it. They'll just hold it indefinitely. Some people, whenever it 2x's again and they get that third x, they're all out. So it just depends on how well you do. But honestly, if you take your house money out early, there's no way to lose. But that being said, let's do some quick math, right? So we get this thing, it's at 4 mil, and it goes up to 44 mil. The only way to get that 10x is if you held the whole thing right away. But if you bought it at 4 mil, it went up to 8 mil, and you sold, right? And you kept and let the house money run, then that would have been a 5x. So that's how you have to think about it, right? You're not exactly chasing the best ROI, but you're doing it safely, right? Hope that helps. Crux, how do I change over to Gem Hunters from the VIP? Great question, Angel. Okay, so Angel, you got me on the DMs on Discord, and everybody else that's listening, be very careful. There's a lot of fake Cruxes, a lot of fake Tims, a lot of fake T-Shrooms out there in Discord. Always make sure that you're talking to the real one within the server. Angel, you in particular, because we've DM'd in the past, just reach out to me there on Discord, and I'll make sure that we can get that upgrade going. And you'll also get that 50% discount currently for the Gem Hunters. Come join us, says Daniel. Yep. Crux, I figure it out. Thank you. Okay, you got it. Alrighty. Hold my seat. You guys are loving it. This is, again, the most important time to get a portfolio review is now. Within the next 50 days by October. You know, this is how, honestly, this is how I became a crypto millionaire. Within a 6-month period, I turned 130K into 1.3 million. The receipts are pinned on my YouTube channel, you know, and it's all because I bought everything at the right time. So if you haven't been following me, I called the top back in October. In November, I told you the plan about like saving that piece for Manhattan. And personally, I haven't bought any crypto. So I've been telling people it's okay to DCA, that's fine. But at this point, I have like 6 figures worth of dry powder ready to go. But I'm waiting till October. So I'm watching all of these rallies go up. And guess what? My discipline is so good that I don't buy. And it's crazy because Bitcoin, it went down from 126 all the way down to about 57K. It goes all the way back up to 88K. And guess what? I don't buy. That's crazy. A lot of people said this time's different. And a lot of people bought the $88,000 Bitcoin. And now we're back down to 64. So people are starting to see it go back up to 64, 65, maybe gets to 68. Boom, takes another hit. So, you know, I'm telling people they should DCA under the 200-week moving average, where Bitcoin's about $64,000 on the 200-week. That's historically a good time to buy. For me, I'm going all in October, and we go see if it pays out. Look, about a month ago, check my static videos. I explained my whole story on how I'm going to turn another 6 figures into 7 figures, and I give you the 16 coin portfolio. I'm fully committed to that plan. In October, we're going to play it out. Excuse me. I'll literally buy it on live stream and show you guys. This is the portfolio I'm going to buy. I'm literally going to buy it and not touch it for 3 years. Crazy. And we'll see. We will see. I showed it here, and we will see if I do it again. 2 for 2. Actually, it'd be technically Right now it's 1 for 2. Last bull market, I did not 10x my bags like I did in my first bull market. But I think this one, I learned my lessons. All right, let's get back into these comments. We'll get back into the last segment of these tiers that a lot of you guys are clicking on, and we will go on about our merry way. I can't figure out how to join the YouTube memberships. Hold a seat for me. Oh, okay, so it is only $4.99. It's right down there. It says join. So that is how you do it. And again, Daniel, thank you again. I mean, you've been, I think, the first gem hunter, brother. So thank you for supporting the cause. He's been here the longest. Go to where you should typically subscribe and hit join. Okay, thank you, Mike, for helping out. First month is free, and then $4.99 a month after that. All right, there you go. All right, so there's a lot of comments in here, guys. You guys, 160 of you are tuning in. Let's jump back over here to the fun part. So let me go ahead and remove the comments again. I'm going to remove my face because you don't need to see it. This is where we're at. If you have any questions, hit me up at the very end. I'm going to go through the rest of these, and we're going to do one final Q&A segment, and we're going to wrap it up. All right. Next up, we got Aster. This is a project that launched in October of last year. The reason I'm calling it a buy is because CZ, he created Binance. Binance is a leading exchange. They do about 20 billion plus in monthly trading volume over there. They trump everything. Some of these perp dexes, like a Hyperliquid, they do about half of that. Like Hyperliquid, if it does about 10 bill, it's quite a bit. That being said, CZ saw this as a threat. He knew Hyperliquid was going to eventually take down Binance, maybe. And he decided to be an advisor to this team. So if the guy who created the biggest centralized exchange is now an advisor to the biggest rival of that competing platform, I want a part of it. There's nobody in the world that holds more crypto than CZ that we know of. He is wealthy, he's rich, and he has proven track record. So I'm not betting against that. Aster all the way. All right, so for Sheeb, I'm going with the void. I think with we talked about the eras earlier. Dogecoin, the only cryptocurrency to outperform Bitcoin in the last 3 bull markets. SHIB did not do this in the last bull market. Actually, maybe SHIB did. I don't think so. That being said, SHIB was not around for a 3rd bull market. This was SHIB's 2nd bull market. That being said, I do think the meme eras are very interesting to look at. I would hold Pepe over SHIB. So the way that I'm going to rate this is I would stay away from SHIB because it's been out for, at this point, 2 bull markets. Pepe is about to go into its 2nd bull market. Now, Dogecoin. So Dogecoin is not on this list. I don't know why. I would actually put Dogecoin as a buy. I think Dogecoin is the better buy than... Okay, this is tough. Dogecoin's the better buy than SHIB, but if you're going to ask me Pepe versus Doge, I think Pepe has the higher upside potential. Doge has the more proven track record. So answer it like that. But one better, and since we're on this topic, let's go ahead and knock out all the memes. So I'm going to go with the buy on Pengu. Pengu, it is going into its 2nd bull market, but I think it's the proven winner. It's pushing for the ETF. There is a lot of traction. It's on a treasury. There's more institutional adoption behind it. They got NFTs going. I think they've proven to be the big winner for memes in this last bull market. Pepe, it did well. Don't get me wrong. I think it actually may have outperformed Pengu from a bottom to a top, but Pengu has a lot more going for it currently. It's still building in the bear winter. They just released a game. So a lot going there. Pump.Fun. So if you look at my monthly videos, in the first couple of days of every month, I drop a top 5 video. I called the bottom for Cardano and Pump.Fun. If you look at, again, 2 months ago, look at the Cardano price action and Pump.Fun in the past 2 months. I called it both in that video. The reason I talk about Pump.Fun, if you want to get into gambling, you can buy Solana. That's the safe bet. You could also take a little more risk and you can buy, which, I consider Solana Las Vegas. If you want to get a little bit more risky, you buy the casino. That is the launch pad. That is the Pump.Fun. If you want to get even more risky, you buy the meme. You buy the bonk. You buy the whiff. That is the craps table or the blackjack table. You have to nail it. Super risky, but that's how you add leverage. If you want to add leverage to your gambling problem, buy Pump.Fun instead of Solana. More risky, you would add to the individual meme coin, which most people are going to get that one wrong because there's millions of them. So that one's tough. I like Pump.Fun. Aave. Aave, we're going for a wait. So if we look at Aave, the way it operates, it doesn't really do very, very, very well into the second half of a bull market, because this is why Aave is very important. It's the number one borrowing and lending platform in all of crypto. At one point hit 45 billion in TVL. And what happens is people do very well in a bull market. They get euphoric. They take out loans against their crypto. So since, let's just say Bitcoin goes to 200K, right? 200K by the end of 2028. What people are going to do is they're going to take that Bitcoin and borrow against it. Or let's just say Ethereum, because it's more programmable. They're going to take that Ethereum, they're going to borrow against it. So if they have $100,000 worth of Ethereum, they get $50,000 loan, and it's collateralized at that point. They take that 50K and they buy Ethereum with it. And it gives value to the Aave token, because this is what is allowing that process to happen, right? So the further up you go into a euphoric period of a bull market, the more Aave does well. And I'll prove it, because if you look at the second half of every bull market in Aave's existence, it looks good. All right. So that being said, people are not euphoric. We're the exact opposite. We're in bear winter. A lot of people are like, crypto is dead. It's going to be forgotten. And I'm not. Like, I think we're just about 50 days out from the bottom. So next up, we have Ondo. So Ondo does not have an unlock anytime soon. I'm going to throw it up here for buy, because it's taken a massive hit. It has, well, maybe about 3 months ago, it started doing very well, but has started to fall back since. I think the bottom is in on this project. We're going with the buy. With the Clarity Act, there's very few projects that are going to perform better than Ondo because of its lowish market cap, but its good partnerships with the institutions. I'm going with a buy on Ondo. Next up, we got Morpho. So Morpho is also going on a buy. Morpho, I talked about it earlier with Coinbase. It is the riskier variant of Coinbase's security. COIN's the ticker. This is going to be their safest bet on the base network. This is the safe. If I wanted to buy one pick on the base network, I'm going Morpho over Aerodrome. Aerodrome has too much competition. Is Aerodrome even down here? Nope, it's not. All right, so Aerodrome is not on here, but I'll quickly hit it since we're here. I would still put Aerodrome as a buy, right? I like Morpho. I like Aerodrome. If I can only hold one, Morpho is outperforming Aerodrome in what it does. So the Morpho vaults, I mean, personally, I have it's like 4% yield on my USDC in Coinbase One. And you can add like an extra percent if you threw it into a Morpho vault. And there's people with a lot of money that are doing this. Aerodrome is just like a leading decentralized exchange built on Base. But again, you got Hyperliquid, you got Lighter, you got Aster, you have Uniswap, you have some big competitors there. That's how I would evaluate that. Dot. We're going on Avoid. I talked about the parachains or the interoperability narrative earlier with Injective. Somebody asked me about, what was the other one? I forgot what the bridge was. Somebody asked me about interoperability earlier. I said I would stay away from it because native L1s they've solved it. They don't need third parties anymore. Crypto is all about removing the third party. So parachains failed in this last bull market, and I think it's going to fail going forward. ICP, we're going to avoid. People are going to hate me for this. Look, Definity, too many people on a payroll. There's a lot of people in that Definity Foundation that are kind of upset at the direction. Yes, you created caffeine. Yes, you created canisters. It's a pretty solid way to scale a network. Man, like, I just think you had way too many people, too many pioneers, way too many academic scholars. It reminded me of Cardano 2.0, right? You were not able to build for two different bull markets. You were not able to build a breakout app. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, that's on me. So that's why I'm going to stay away from ICP, is the performance of this last bull market and its ugly chart from its very first launch, its token launch, a huge sell-off. All right, so Render. This is going to be probably the hardest pick of this entire thing because it's in between buy and wait. So render. I'm going wait. Hear me out. So render, there has never been a token that has rebranded a ticker and has done well. So for example, let's go Fetch. Fetch rebranded with the Ocean Protocol for the ASI merger. That whole thing goes to not really zero, but it's rough right now, right? Whenever a ticker rebrands, it is like a huge red flag. And prove me if I'm wrong. What ticker has rebranded and has done well overall? I'm not going to consider Zebec Network a rebrand of a ticker, even though it went from ZEBEC to ZBCN or vice versa, because it didn't have anything to do with the tokenomics. But if you're telling millions of people to put your tokens on some bridge and then swap it to a new token, you lose basically automatically. People are going to lose trust. They don't want to be nerds and go do this. They just want to buy a token. It goes up in value and they can sell at a higher price, right? People are not, I would say the vast majority of people are not in crypto to actually use crypto for what it's worth, unfortunately. But that's how I'm going to attack that render narrative right now. They should have, in my opinion, just stayed on Ethereum. They could have, in a sense, just used the L2s for scaling, the optimisms of the world, etc., and just done that. Like, you don't need to use Solana. There's a lot of networks that use Solana. If you would have launched on Solana, that would have been better, I'll be honest. But L2s on Ethereum are successful, so there was no need to bridge there. That being said, let's go talk about Arbitrum. I'm going to put that in the wait category. I don't think L2s are really worth buying, in my opinion. Just like I said earlier, L2s will probably perform well in the first half of this bull market until the blobs of Ethereum do well in the second half. Vitalik's 3-year roadmap is going to most likely work, and it's going to not replace the L2s, but it's going to limit how much attention that they're getting. Now, what I will say, Arbitrum is the chosen L2 of Robinhood Chain. So Robinhood Chain, it is breaking out. There's a lot of people using it. We're kind of on a mini bull run right now in some of these tokens. If you look at Cash Cat, What If, etc., there is a meme craze going on with that Robinhood Chain. So Arbitrum it's getting some traction there. I think within the centralized side, you had that Kelp DAO hack that happened maybe 2 months ago, and they're able to stop, I want to say it's like $120 million worth of stolen funds within 8 people, by the way. So 8 people got together, they froze those funds, and they returned them to the rightful users. That's a different argument for a different time. We're just talking pure price. I'm going to wait. All right, let's go into the next one. We got Midnight. Somebody asked me about it earlier. I did say I would rather buy Midnight than Cardano. I'm going with wait. I'm going with the wait on this one because a couple things. There was actually the biggest airdrop of all time was Midnight. There's a lot of people that are sitting on this token that are probably going to sell once it gets to a decent price. And that's how I would look at this one. It is a side chain. So it's not really reliant on Cardano. If Cardano doesn't do well, Midnight still could do well. It's an interoperable piece, and it was also created by IOHK, but it's not a reliant piece. So that's how I'd do that one. There's better picks. Virtual. So Virtual is my number 2 AI pick, only behind Tao. Actually, my number 3, sorry. I talked about Near Protocol earlier as my number 2. Virtual is slightly behind it. Virtuals is AI agents only, in a sense. I think the Launchpad and the UI is actually better at Virtuals than Near, but Near has the better... has a better track record. Near has been through a full bull market longer. Virtuals didn't really blow up until the second half of last bull market. Near's been around the block. It just rebranded recently, though, and I think Near is the better pick, followed closely by Virtual Protocol. Pyth Network. I'm going on wait. I need it. Like, if Chainlink really breaks out, I think Pyth is going to have issues. Chainlink already does 68% of all Oracle activity, followed by Pyth, which is in second, which is a huge, it's just so far behind. What does have a lot going for it. It is built on the Solana network as opposed to just being interoperable across the entire thing. Pyth has a couple things going for it. The number one thing it has going for it is if Chainlink fails, it is the first runner-up. Redstone, that's another one to look at if you want to add leverage to a Oracle play. But I'd go Pyth, or I'd go Chainlink, LINK ticker, as number one, Pyth number two, and then Red, RED, for number three, Redstone. Beam, I'd also wait on this one. This would, I kind of want to put it in a void. Man, let's go ahead and keep it here. We'll keep it here at wait. I like gaming as a user. I do not like gaming as an investor. So this last bull market, we got smoked. If you know, you know. The 2021 bull market, whenever Facebook rebranded from Facebook to Meta, that whole metaverse narrative brought decentralized, it brought Illuvium, it brought all of these hot crypto projects into existence. All the way to, you literally have the countries like Philippines, like being able to have that as a very usable way to make money. So countries were surviving off of Axie Infinity, for example. So crypto gaming, it has a place in crypto. It has a place in humanity. I just don't think crypto really is ready to adopt, especially I think when unemployment goes up, I think a lot of people will start crypto gaming. I know that sounds weird. Like if people start getting, it's hard for people to get a job. Guess what? They're going to jump on the video games and they're going to make money. And I think that's a fun way that has been proven for many, many decades to work. It's actually illegal to use in-game currencies as actual like value. So if you're to try to sell, like let's just say I'm playing RuneScape and I sell some gold for US dollars, technically you're not supposed to do that. But I think over time, when people go through unemployment, and especially crypto gaming, it's non-KYC, they can't even track it. People are going to do that. So we will see. It'll probably be more than 4 years. And right now we're just looking for this next bull market. What's going to be the best buy? I would wait. Deepbook. We're going full buy on this one. If you know, you know. Deepbook is it's a CLOB. It's a closed limit order book, I think it is the acronym. So it is built on the Sui network. So this is your first beta play that is on Sui. I think it's going to be your safest bet. There's no other Sui beta play that I'd put as a buy right now, and that's including Cetus Protocol. So Miston Labs, they've created a lot of stuff from Ica to Walrus to a lot of these different applications. And honestly, I think Deepbook has the most potential on the Sui network. So that's how I'd play that one. It is, and you got a network that is like, it's kind of like the data aggregator. There's a difference between Jupiter and Radium. Radium is a full-fledged DEX. Jupiter is that aggregator. Deepbook is the aggregator. It is not the full-fledged DEX. It is finding where the best prices are, and it's pushing you to Turbos. It's pushing you to all these other decentralized exchanges built on the Sui network. So there is your full list. Let's go ahead and bring myself back up. Very long-winded here. I hope you guys are enjoying this type of content. I don't know where you can find it anywhere else on, YouTube. Not here to pat myself on the back, but this is a thing of beauty having so many people watching right now. And, there you are. Those are, I'll bring it up here in a second. This last picture, you can take a picture with your phone and see what Crux says he would buy going into the next 50 days. Because again, I don't think the bottom is in. I think all of these have lower prices ahead. I did earlier say some of them, maybe not. If Bitcoin goes down to 40K, most likely every project that I just talked about, the bottom's not in. All right, let's read through the rest of these Q&As and we will move on about our merry day. I've been live for about an hour and a half now. Yeah, try turning off the VPN. Coinbase tweaks out. Okay, so somebody's having issues there. Ina owes me. I'm 90% down, so it is a great buy, says Daniel. Yeah, I think stablecoins will do well in this next bull market. I would hold on to my ENA. I actually hold a little ENA, and I'm in the red as well. So we will see if algorithmic stablecoins find a purpose. Now, what I will tell you, if stablecoins do well, and like USDC, we got Tether, we got Circle, we have actual institutions that are investing money, and they are going to provide a stablecoin infrastructure. What these infrastructures have already done is they've frozen user funds. So ENA, this is a decentralized network, and it is algorithmic stablecoin. In 2022, that was the scariest word in crypto because Terra Luna collapsed under an algorithmic stablecoin called UST. So people are like, I will never back my cryptocurrency with crypto. I need infrastructure. I need housing. I need gold. I need actual things to back my crypto projects. And that's what USDC and USDT do. So people have a lot more trust in that than Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I just told you, ENA, they use Bitcoin and Ethereum as a delta neutral hedging strategy to back ENA, the stablecoin for ENA. I don't know why it's not coming on the top of my head right now, but so I think ENA definitely has a good probability to do well as long as stablecoins do well, which I don't think there's going to be much bigger narrative going into this next bull market. I love AVAX as well. It just didn't make my my buy list. I think AVAX has a ton of competition. Institutions are here. I hold a good amount. I'm just not accumulating right now. I bought the $6 bottom at AVAX. Nice. That is very good. I tried to gift you one. Yeah. Yeah. If you buy the membership and you try to gift it, it's going to give it to somebody random. So that being said, that's cool. You know, I appreciate all the support everybody's doing. You know, we're building something special here. I just want you guys to know you are part of a team and we are up and right. We are up and right. We're going to be one of the fastest growing communities. AVAX ran out Sui. AVAX outran Sui last bull run. Sui had some runs in there, brother. They're both solid. I liked AVAX 2 bull markets ago. Sui last bull market, I would say it was running. Peak, we got some deep in narratives. Are we early on peak? That's the question. Because if you add real world infrastructure into like digital networks, it could work. You know, I'm not fully sold on the deep pin narrative. It did kind of well this last bull market. Helium did okay. Hive Mapper, Peak did okay. You know, but I just don't know with deep pin. I don't think it's going to be a top 5 narrative. I'll figure it out. This is Daniel. All right, let's keep going. Maximus Crypto, Coin Vault in the house. Let's go, Crux. Congrats on 8K. Your boy hit it. 8K subs. We hit it earlier today, and we're up and right from here, y'all. So I appreciate everybody, all 8,000 of you. That's a blessing, y'all. I have 1.62 average with Near. I don't know what the price of Near is right now, so hopefully that's up. Virtual might have a better ROI than Near, though. So Virtual looks, the chart looked heavily manipulated last bull market. It would have these like God spikes, and then like typically a dump would follow after that. But like Q4 last year, Virtual was on fire. I'll wait for under 44K Bitcoin. Oh, wait for Near. Yeah, I would be very careful with that. Again, most people should be DCAing under 64K. That is a 200-week average, moving average, historically the best time. Like, let's say if you bought at last bear winter, if you would have bought at the 200-week moving average, that was a $22,000 Bitcoin. Bitcoin went from 22K all the way up to 126K. So if you would have been okay with that, buy now. If you want to get the 15.5K bottom, you're going to have to time that $40,000 bottom. And that is, I don't know if it's going to happen. That's what I'm trying to do. And that's really how I'm tried 10X. People are like, Crux, how were you able to turn a little bit of money into $1 million? It's because I risked it for the biscuit. I disagree with some of the calls here. Mostly everything is a wait, says Corey. So Corey, I'll be honest. Like I said earlier, if I think the bottom is at 40K, then you are right. Everything is a wait. I'm saying, like most people, if you're going to buy crypto right now at the 200-week moving average, then some of these are a buy. You should be lowering your DCAs because we might not get there. And what I don't want is the people like Q4 this year, Bitcoin's back to $88,000 and people are waiting and they're like, Crux, you told us to all wait. Like, what's going on? I don't want that. I want people to responsibly lower their DCAs and not do what I'm doing exactly. I told you my plan. I told you I'm going for the risk, but you don't have to follow me. And that's the beauty of crypto. You don't even have to be all in or all out. You can have some at 40K. You can deploy some now. There's no right way to skin this cat. It is what you are willing to risk to do. I haven't looked at just yet. No, I don't know anything about this. I don't want to mislead you. So we're going to move on. I don't think Trump wants it to pass, as it will affect his ability to generate his crypto wealth in the Oval Office. I mean, that could be absolutely right, Donna. You could be absolutely right. We know that we were supposed to be winning so much that we are tired of winning, and I just never felt that experience. 2025 basically happened. You had tariffs, tariff. China, you're looking at me, 110% tariff on China. Canada, tariff. All the way into Q4 and then Q1 of this year, oil. President Maduro, we're going to go get this guy. We're going to hijack the president of a country. We're going to take this oil, and guess what? All of these scientists are going to go missing. Who knows what happened to them? There's like 13 of them. All of these factories from Brazil to Texas, they start going up in flames. And guess what? The Strait of Hormuz is closed. So to me, there's clearly an agenda about energy and oil, and it is what it is. So it went from tariffs to a war on oil, and crypto is nowhere near to be found. So we will see if the midterms switch this up, but who knows? Like, I don't think President Trump is really out for our personal bags. What do you think about Kaspa? I gave a pitch earlier. I'll put the timestamps here shortly. We've been an hour and a half, actually an hour and 40 minutes into this live stream, and I gave a full-fledged pitch on Kaspa, my favorite project in all of crypto. I dropped a video on Dag Night last Thursday, so make sure you check that one out. DCA, in my opinion, do not try to time the bottom. You might get left behind. You got 60 days left till October. Right. So also, if we start pumping up and right and we go to about 88,000 or even 80K, you should have a plan to the upside. So what I don't want you to do is, let's say it's going to take 50 days, right? And we just keep on going up and up and up and up and up, and you're just waiting for this 50, or you're waiting for this $40,000 Bitcoin in October, and we're at $88,000 in October. You should have a plan to the upside. And you might be wondering, Crux, it just went to 57K. Why would I buy it at 88K? It's because we're about to go through a 3-year long bull market. So if you didn't buy the bottom, it's okay. You can still make some wealth in this bull market. You don't have to be all in. You don't have to be all out. That's what I would say to you. Now, I still have a whole bunch of crypto right now. I've round tripped a good amount of it. So I have a good amount of cryptocurrency. And if we start pumping, that's all going to go back up. So that's how I'm playing this, is I'm going to lower my DCA in one huge DCA. All right. I see a lot of people throwing those Kaspas in chat. What happened with the WLFI lawsuit? I'm trying to remember. Actually, I really just don't know. I'll be honest with you. Let's move on. Sorry, if I knew, I would definitely help you out on that one. Trump don't need the money. He's pushing it. Right. Yeah, I mean, he actually became way more wealthy as a president than any other 4-year span in his life. So, I mean, technically he's been president for 6 years. So he's been more wealthy during presidential periods than any other. So you have to ask why. Like, what's your motive? I don't get to get that kind of exposure to wealth. So can we see a 54-cent Kaspa this cycle? Doable. I think Kaspa will go to $1. In fact, that is not conservative, I'll tell you that. But Litecoin was able to get to there, and I think Kaspa can do what Litecoin did back in 2017. It's all-time high. Thanks, Crux, says Virgil. Thank you, Virgil. And why do I say Kaspa and Litecoin? It's because Litecoin was created to be a scalable Bitcoin. Kaspa is Aramaic for silver. Silver is known as a transactional currency as opposed to a medium of exchange like gold. So Bitcoin is digital gold. Kaspa is digital silver. Kaspa is the fastest proof of work network, the fastest medium of exchange that's ever been created on a digital ledger. So that's why I say it's trumped Litecoin in basically every single way. When will Tim and Taylor be on crypto verdict? Good question, Angel. So once I build it out, I had a Crypto Erie on yesterday. I think you would like, Angel, check out Crypto Erie. She actually won the crypto verdict yesterday. It is 8 different questions. We have 5 contestants, only 1 crypto verdict. And it's all about, all through those 8 questions, these 5 different people have to answer, and I get them to debate, and she won. So as Tim and T-Shroom, I think, see, all these people, all these big names, I think they're going to start to like the show. So it's a personal challenge, and I think I'm going to get them to like it. Mike Jr., he might not need the money, but he's greedy. All right, let's keep going. Trump needs the money. He was okay. Let's read these back to back, y'all. He might not need the money, but the greed. Trump needs the money. He was broke. Before you get back into the Oval, so Trump is not broke. He made a lot of wealth in Manhattan, a lot of wealth in his real estate journey. He's had like 3 failed companies, but he's had like 11 successful companies. So I would definitely not say that is a failure. But again, I'm trying to stay apolitical. I don't get into politics much. XRP is going to shock the crypto world. I agree, Dag. I think XRP. So here's a question that I ask on Crypto Verdict. Will XRP surpass Ethereum? Right? That is a controversial statement. And when I have faces like Jake Claver, by the way, I was on his live stream last week. Actually, no, it was Monday. On this Monday, I was on. No, it was last week. And I'm going to have him on Crypto Verdict next Thursday. I'm in there with the biggest faces. There's not a bigger YouTuber out there right now. But whenever you're able to ask these people these type of questions, Ethereum, XRP, you're getting everything that you need. You're getting the debates from solid voices. Tao. Can somebody read off the poll real quick? I can't see the results of the poll. And be honest about it. Don't be throwing your favorite coin at the highest percentage. Let me know the poll, because whoever won this poll is going to get his own emoji for the Crux pack. You could join the Crux pack down below. Hey, Crux, you and Crypto Archie need to do a collab on If. Travis, you're reading. Look, Archie reached out to me today. I need to respond to his DM. We were actually supposed to do one last week. I got super busy. I had Crypto Archie on 3 weeks ago. We did a Kaspa price prediction video. Ton of views with this Robinhood collab. It's going to come here soon. So be on the lookout for that one. I think maybe I interview him probably next week. And we will talk about what if. We'll talk about Robinhood chain in particular. I want to know his thoughts on Cash Cat, stonk brokers. Do not sleep on NFTs. I'm not fully convinced that they are going to zero. I think NFTs have potential. But also, I thought gaming had potential last bull market, and I did not do well on that call. So we got some more Kaspa heads. Trump was not broke, right? When people still worth right? V Hunt. There's if you call Trump broke, you just are biased. That is one of the most wealthy individuals alive, and I would say a top 3 influential person / powerful person alive. So I would not call that broke. I love your content, bro. Thanks. Yeah, David, thank you. Appreciate it. Usually I don't get this many viewers in one go. So thank you all. Zebec is at a good price. I feel like, why not? Kaspa is a very big name to most YouTubers right now. Kaspa is a big name. I think by 2029, I will be the biggest Kaspa YouTuber. So that being said, I'm not a maxi in any sort. If I make a video on Kaspa right now, there's not a lot of people that are going to get more views than me. And that's clear. Like this Dag Knight video I dropped, it's already up to like 3,000 views. I've dropped some that have hit 7,000. I don't know about a 7,000. I think 6K. And that's with the channel the size of 8,000 subscribers. So if you see somebody pushing Kaspa content, I have 8,000 subscribers. The only people doing more are the people that have like 40K or like 30K subscribers. So just give me time. And the cool part about it is I get the people that are outside the echo chamber. So those guys that have like 30, 40,000, they're Kaspa specific. So of course they're going to outdo me on that project. But I'm bringing the people from the outside. I'm talking about XRP. Somebody's going to subscribe to me about XRP. I'm telling them about Kaspa. And that's why I think my channel is going to be a very big opportunity to help pump Kaspa. You think Sol will hit between 600? So yeah, I think Solana will be at least $600 by 2029. Thank you for those jewels, Travis. Appreciate you, brother. Virgil, future price on Zebec. I think Zebec will hit a $5 billion market cap. Will it hit 5 cents? Maybe. but I think it'll be a $5 billion market cap or so. And that's by 2029. That's closer to about a 35x by now. So hope that helps. And if you want to learn more about that, I did a collab with Crypto Future, and I also did a collab with Black Roo. They're both in the Coin Vault crew, some of the biggest faces of Zebec Network. Trump has never been, okay, yeah, read that one. All right, we got a lot of people talking about Trump. Tao, I hope it hits 2K. Shizzy dropped that yesterday. He said $4,495 by this time next year, not even 2029. So I think I'm a lot more conservative than that. I think Tao will do well. I think it could do a 15, 20x. I don't know the exact price right now. I didn't really give my price prediction in that, and typically I do, so I apologize for that. Usually I have these price predictions ready to go for you guys. 4K by 2029, that would be a good question. If Tao's like sitting around $200, that's a 5 to get to 1,000. That's a 20x. So can Tao 20x? I think it could. If AI really takes off, Tao, I think in 20x. Other than that, I mean, I wouldn't bet for it to. I would probably put it closer to a 10 to 15. In debt and broke, two different things. Yeah, y'all are crushing our president. I mean, yeah, y'all are going at it. Y'all are going at it. Question: you think when the bottom we consolidate, drop, beat? I think you mean a V shape, maybe. Right. So go study. Hear me out. It takes half as long to get to a previous all-time high than it did the previous cycle. So it took us 1 year to get from 15.5 all the way to 69K, because we got the 69K back in November 2021. So I think within about a 6 to 8 month period from the bottom, so if the bottom is in October, 6 months after that to 8 months, we will back to 126K. Because what happens is people like me, people have a good amount of wealth, dry powder just stored, ready to buy. In October, we go boom. And at that point, it's like everyone starts believing, oh, 4-year cycle's back on, money go. And it just gets front ran, right? So you get back to the all-time high twice as fast. Therefore, again, Q2 next year, I would be surprised if we're not back to an all-time high of 126K. So I hope that helps. Like if you're talking about a V shape, what better V shape than that? You know, you bottom in October, within 8 months, you're back to an all-time high. Juby, you missed out a ton, brother. I'll bring up the list here in a second. So just stick around. Just got here. We'll start from the beginning, and I'll make sure I add the timestamp. So yeah, you did say V shape. Let's get some more likes. We need 100 likes, please. It's free. Yeah. So if there's anything you could do to help me out, look, I got 157 of you. Subscribe, like, check out Crypto Verdict as well. New game show. I'm bringing it back around the blockchain 2.0. I actually brought DZ on 2 weeks ago to interview him. I told him about Crypto Verdict, and maybe, just maybe, he's the guy that used to run around the blockchain. I have him on Crypto Verdict for my second episode. I'm gonna shoot a DM to him later. Let's see if I can get him back on for just as a contestant, maybe even a guest host. That would be pretty dope. Waiting for Trump to deploy his dry powder. Trump already has money on money on money. He has dry powder. He has assets. He has stock. He has all of it. 11 billion, 118 in the house, 78 likes. Continue smashing those likes. Thank you. If Cass hit 1 cent, I'm unloading heavy. Right now it's 2.5 cents. If Bitcoin goes down to 40K, I think Caspa will be just under 2 cents. I think Caspa will get there. 2 cents, I'm going all in. Forget that. Zebec. Tony. Thank you for sticking around, Tony. Unloading fiat, that is, and buying a lot more of Cass at 1 cent. Imagine Cass at 1 cent. It gets back to all-time high. That's a 22x just to get back to its all-time high. And then I still think it's going to $1. So what you are saying doesn't make sense. You said if Bitcoin goes to 40K, everything else will go lower. So why buy now? So crypto is hard. That's a very good name you have. It is hard. Crypto is hard. Now, the people who've been around, the block, like myself, I told you earlier I turned 130K into $1.3 million in 6 months. I lost 700K in 3 weeks right after that. Crypto's hard. You learn a lot emotionally. I would say the hardest thing in crypto is about the emotions, because like there's a difference between having something unrealized and you never got the yacht, you never got the Lambo, you never got the house and all this other stuff. I mean, I'm not a materialistic person really anyways, but there's a difference between having it unrealized, you don't have the lifestyle, and then you lose the unrealized gains, right? The people that cashed out and then they took a hit, that's the hard part, because they already have the car that they have to pay a note on, they have the house they have to pay a mortgage on, and they've lost the money. So I'm going to say like having my unrealized losses isn't that bad. It really isn't, because the only way that I was able to lose 700K was to make 1.3 million right before that. So that being said, you learn a lot about yourself and you learn a lot about crypto as an asset class. And yes, I do say 40K, but don't ever be all in, all out. You know, I'm just telling you from experience. That's why I'm saying DCA, $64,000, best historical buy for Bitcoin. I'm YOLOing it. I'm waiting for October and I'm going in with a lot. And that's how I made a lot, you know? But for every me, there's thousands of people that don't make it. And I don't want you to be one of them. So that's why I'm saying, you know, figure out what you got to do risk to reward wise. You can follow me and you can pay for it in case the bottom is in and we're up and right and we're 88K by October and I have to buy the 88K Bitcoin. I didn't get to buy the 57K. I didn't get to buy the 64K. I have to buy the 88K. I'm willing to risk it for a biscuit. All right. So hope that helps. Gem. After the video ends, refresh and drop a comment. Let's get it. Let Crux know your thoughts. Crux responds to all his comments, and that is true. I respond to every comment. You can check all of my stuff. I'm in here like swimwear. But in case Bitcoin doesn't make it right, V Hunt. Thank you for helping out, V Hunt. By now, because most people DCA. Look, see, this is what I like. I explained the whole thing, but you guys already beat me to it. You guys see a community member. He's not understanding the whole grasp of it. And absolutely, you might be right. I might be right. 40K it comes, and we make a killing. So hit those likes. 20 more till 100. Crypto shards, my sentiments precisely, or wouldn't buy right now. Okay, let's go Aster. I like Aster. I actually really like Aster. So should I sell Ethereum and put it into Solana? I only have about $700 in ETH and own about one Solana coin so far. Good question, Greg. Ethereum and Solana are both solid projects. It seems like you might be a little newer to crypto. I think it's okay to own both. You know, like if you have, and remember, this is all subjective. So I just said I've lost 700K in 3 weeks. To me, that's different than somebody who lost 20. Let's say they had $20,000 and they lost 10,000 of it. They just took a 50% haircut. That could be devastating to somebody. For me, I lost 700K. It hurt, but it's not like, it's all subjective. It's relative to that person, the experience that they've gone through in life. And what I tell you, you're not going to make a major, it shouldn't affect you too much, because you're not dealing with a ton of crypto here. I only have about $700 in ETH and only own about one Solana coin so far. So you're doing the right thing, in my opinion, not financial advice. You're accumulating good projects. Just keep it snowballing. Don't worry about like swapping cryptos right now, like ETH for Sol for ETH. Crux of Crypto just talked about Morpho. What about Deepbook? What about Aave, Avalanche, Tao? This is crazy, right? Everybody's minds everywhere. Cryptos are launching left and right. One's proof of work, what's proof of stake. It's complicated. Stick to the basics. You just gave me 2 good projects, Ethereum, Solana. Stick with it. Find out how to accumulate more projects now. Let's keep going. We going much lower. Yeah, there's a lot of people that think we're going lower. What do you think about Toshi? I love Toshi. Shout out Angel if you're still in here. I like the base ecosystem. Let's go, Toshi. I'd buy Solana over ETH. Right. So to that person that I just talked about, your next dollars, in my opinion, I'd put it into Solana over ETH. But don't jump into these degen projects I just talked about. You're new to crypto, stick to the basics. especially if it's $700, higher ROI on Sol. You're right. Yeah. Good notes. Disclaimer, this is not financial advice, for entertainment purposes only. Yeah, thank you for the disclaimers. What he said, average is 1,940. That's a good average, by the way. For this asset, Ethereum used to be 5K. 5K back in 2021, November. It was about 4.8. So you got a good buy, brother. And it's good that you're starting to learn in a bear winter. There's no better time to get into crypto. So there's a lot of people that I hear on the like daily. They're like, yeah, I got in last September. I'm like, oh shoot. Like last September, Bitcoin was like 120K, you know? There's so many people that got in Q3, Q4 of last year. And they're down 80, 90% on their bag. So you being an average buy of 2K, less sub 2K on ETH, good stuff. Buddy on selling ETH for Sol, you get more multiple. So a lot of people are telling you to swap. I wouldn't swap. I would just accumulate. And now if you had a ton of Ethereum, this somebody, I lost 40 Ethereum in Celsius, 39 technically, and Celsius gone forever. I will never see that Ethereum. And this one Ethereum was 3K each. So that's about 120K that I got rugged. I was chasing 3% APY on my Ethereum. I could have bought, a validator node and just ran for 32 Ethereum. I wanted the easy route. Alex Machinsky, he was gambling my money. So he was a founder. He took my money, he gambled it, and I will never see it again. So when we talk about having bags, you should diversify. But I always throw my experience in there because it helps with coping, right? There's a lot of people that have it worse than me. So I'm just giving you my narrative. How about the ICP big guy? So Nick, I actually went through ICP earlier. You're not going to like my my take on it. So I'll be honest with you. I think it's an okay AI project. Well, not an AI project, more or less just a scalable network. The canisters are phenomenal. Caffeine, it's a solid. I like the dev activity on Caffeine. The ability to be able to just like prompt and create DApps like an LLM is brilliant. I just don't see enough TVL over there for it to work, and it's kind of survived two different bull markets. I think there's a lot of positions that I would personally rather put my money in currently than ICP. And I talked a lot about Definity and a lot of their other stuff, so you'll have to go back later. All right, so we're pushing up. We're actually 2 hours in right now. So I'm going to read this super chat, and we have to be done, y'all. I do appreciate everyone for tuning in. I even see Shannon Cross joining in. I want everybody to make sure that you refresh this and leave a like. Shout out to Pup Tux. Get him a pup's treat. Oh, man. Thank you so much, Shannon. Shannon. I got the coolest community here. I appreciate all of you. All right, so I got Node Network. Look, Node Network. I'm going to talk about Crypto Verdict here before we leave, but I refuse to do your polls with the given choices, LOL. I am trying to trick people in. So if you don't know, there's currently an ongoing poll. Can somebody read me the results, please? I'm not able to see. Almost 200 people have voted, but it's not letting me actually see the results. And whichever one wins, I'm actually going to put it as an emoji for my channel. I think Tao's winning, or maybe Solana, but I need to have confirmation on that. And real quick, while I got Node Network up, Crypto Verdict, Mike from Node Network, he was a contestant yesterday. We had a couple other brilliant faces over there. And every Monday and every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we come together, bring in 5 different content creators. I ask them 8 questions, 8 different questions. We have 5 creators, but there's only one crypto verdict. So at the end, I bring somebody up and he chooses a winner of the 5. It's a brilliant idea and you guys are going to love it. Check out Crypto Verdict right after this. All right. I see a lot of stuff going on. Erie did own it. Crypto Erie, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. She is awesome. She won yesterday's episode. So Tao takes the win is what I'm being told. Thoughts on, okay. I don't have enough time to keep on going through all these. I like Canton. 31% Sol. 33% Tao. Tao takes the dub. Let me put this in my notes. Tao emoji. I will make an emoji for Tao. So right now you can see Kaspa, you can see Keeta. You know, Node Network loves Keeta. I'm just kidding, y'all. They don't like Keeta. They like Kaspa. I talked to David and Mike about that one just yesterday. So check out that live stream after this. Zebec versus Kaspa. Somebody mentioned that during this live stream. I will cook that one up. Let's drop that next week. Zebec versus Kaspa. You guys refresh this and let me know who do you think is going to win that, Kaspa or Zebec. That being said, I have to get going. Look, real quick. Boom. Let me show you this video with Shib and I, or Shiz. Boom. It's about Tao. So Tao just won the poll. What better way to learn about it than one of the most brilliant creators in the space, Shizzy Unchained. Check this out. You know, you can refresh this, leave your comment, go over to my channel, check out the video with Shizzy and I. And with that being said, you guys be blessed. See you on Thursday at Crypto Verdict, 9 p.m. Eastern. I expect each and every one of you to be there. Peace.